And we are back. Welcome back, everyone, to the live stream. This time we are here for the qualifying session ahead of the Brazilian Grand Prix, the final qualifying session of the 2019 season. Once again, I'm JW97, and once again, I'm joined by Robert Ionescu.
Hello there, guys. Yep, it's going to be an interesting qualifying session for sure, and happy to be here.
Indeed, and we noticed in the stream chat that David's realised that he will still be on the top class grid for next season with AlphaTauri. So congratulations to you, David. You'll still be among the top class next season. So we're here for the qualifying session. You'll soon see the weather very soon once the graphic disappears, and we'll tell you about that in a bit once that does. And so that's that then. So we're just waiting for the session to get going. There's your weather. It is going to be a dry session for the entirety of qualifying. Q1, Q2, Q3, it's all going to be dry, just like it was in practice. So I think without further ado, let's get to the final qualifying session of the season, shall we?
Yes, here we go.
Okay. Well, take two then, but the weather will be the same, guys. Don't worry, because it's easy to do with dry weather.
A little bit of a
mistake there from Yuri, because he just realised he forgot to put the qualifying mistake rate in. So
yeah.
Patient, guys. Well, if it's anything to go by practice when it comes to mistakes, we might see a lot in this session. But knowing our luck, there probably won't be. So
Yeah.
it'll be lower. So anybody who missed the practice session, of course, there were a load of mistakes that happened in that session, which consisted of well, in fact, I think it was a total of 4 drivers that made a mistake that session. It was like Gabriel Gomez, Paulino Tomaselli, Kirishima De Rosa, his own teammate, and Franco Lopez. We did see the odd few lockups as well during the session, but 3 spins and 1 person going wide basically was what practice had to offer, wasn't it, Rob?
Yeah, pretty hectic, and the drivers will be hoping they learn their lessons and won't be making any sort of that mistake in the qualifying session.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we're just waiting for that because obviously Yuri forgot to put the qualifying mistake rate on, but that should be done very quickly. And he has the game's just loading up, guys. So just bear with, and we will get this session of the way. It will be the same weather that you just saw earlier, so no changes there. It will be dry for the entirety of the session: Q1, Q2, and Q3. So
yep.
So we won't be expecting any wet weather. Could we expect wet weather tomorrow, though? We'll have to wait and see. No, now look, it'll probably be the same weather that we had in 2017. So
yeah,
I'll have to see about that. But yeah, guys. So again, leave your prediction on who you think will be the bottom 6. We've got the stream back up right now with the same weather, of course. So let's once I think Yuri is taking the graphic down because we obviously the stream's a bit behind us. So
yeah. What your prediction
the
be,
YouTube
Joe?
stream, that is not the Discord one, but yeah, he's took the screen off. So let's get underway again. So just reading in the chat, some people are saying both Manners, both Williams, and both Haas. Franco saying both Manners, a Williams, a McLaren, and a Haas. And that's it. They're the only predictions I think I've got, unless there's some others.
All right, I'm going to make a prediction. My prediction is going to be both Williamses, both Haas, not both Haases, both Williamses, both Manners, one Haas and one Toro. That's my prediction.
Okay, I'm going to go with both Manners, both Williams, a Haas, and I think I'm going to go with an Alfa Romeo. So let's go for this then. So the countdown is here. We've got
our predictions are just one car different.
Yeah, we are obviously Felix Sontag and Franco Gamba are back in their cars because, of course, they handed their reins to the test drivers, and we've got the first car on track in the form Chris Chatfield. So Chris Chatfield is out on the track for Haas. Obviously, his final qualifying session as a Haas driver before he drives for the renamed AlphaTauri next season. He'll be able to give Haas hope to end his last race with Haas on a high before he goes to the Italian team next season. It's going to be very interesting to see what Chris does next season alongside David Kupok. So speaking of Kupok, he's also on the track as well. I think he might be right behind him as well. So
a little bit of foreshadowing, eh?
Just a little bit. And Franco Lopez, the newly crowned champion, is out on track. Of course, one thing I need to mention as well, he did obviously confirm a couple of hours after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix where he won the title, he's confirmed that he will be running the number 1 next season. So it'll be the first time since 2016 that we'll have the number 1 on the grid. Last time, of course, being Florian Volker back in 2016. Obviously, Jay McKenzie, of course, ran number 18 in 2017. Will Nella, of course, retired, and Florian Volker also retired. So Lopez will be running the number 1 next season, and he'll be looking to see if he can become a 2-time champion in 2020.
Yes, indeed. And he's earned that number as now Chris Chatfield starts his lap.
Chris Chatfield starting the lap. Obviously for Lopez now for the remainder of the season, he'll be hoping to get Mercedes their record 5th Constructors title with Armagh car. Chatfield through into turn 2 now then, slightly flat as you go through there and then flat out through this long sweeping left-hander. It's a very quick first sector this is, not really where most of the time is gained. The most of the time is usually coming from the middle sector as it's a 17.2 in the first sector there for Chris Chatfield. Now here is where the aerodynamics will really come into an effect as they make their way up the hill towards the double right-hander. It's kind of like a double right-hander this is really. It's all classed as one corner, although the profile there would indicate it's a double right-hander. Into the hairpin we go. And now through this left-hander where you could possibly just lift off the throttle basically. You don't really need to use any brake pressure. You could just basically glide the car through there as long as you don't
just let your momentum guide you through the corner as now you go down the hill in towards Mergulho and in these cars.
And now into Young Cow now then, into the left-hander of Young Cow. Up the hill as they now make their way towards the last sector. This is just basically a sprint to the finish because they've just passed the second sector there. 51 point, where is it? 51.2 of it. 51.8 he did on the first sector there.
Yep.
So heading down the pit straight.
His lap is a 1:08.6.
Oh, here comes David Cupock, and he slots the second behind Chatfield. Lopez, of course, as expected, goes fastest by 7 tenths. Burn only 700ths off in the second sector. I don't know if that was compared to Chatfield or that was at Lopez. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, we'll see as Burn is coming through to finish his lap. Where is the Irishman going to go? He goes in P2. Second. Very close, 800s down.
Very good time there from Burn. Here comes Miklos Gal.
That's his ticket to Q2 guaranteed. As Gal finishes his lap to go quickest.
Chung does. Chung goes quickest. Of course, Gal, you could say, was robbed of a victory here last season. He'll be able to put that right this season. Roke, only 7th for that lap. Not a good time for him. And then gets beaten by Frostbury. Tomaselli across the line. Only 9th for him. Not a good time. Carr goes fastest, though. 1:06.9. A very quick time there for Carr. 6 tenths quicker than Chung. De Rosa meanwhile gets into 6th. Here's Joseph Willows across the line. Goes into 6th. Not a good time for him either there. So lots of interesting lap times so far.
Future teammate De Rosa as now Mochin finishes his lap to go 10th.
Gamba goes P2. As Martinez goes 16th. Federi 9th. Gomez goes into 10th. Slots just behind his teammate. Catalan across the line in the Toro Rosso goes into 18th. Here comes Felix Sontag. Across the line he goes in the Williams. Goes into 20th. Then his teammate Campana goes 16th. And here comes Titkov in his last race for Mana. Across the line 19th for him. So at the moment are currently fastest with Gamba in second and Chung in third position. And the current drop zone has Roke, Tomaselli, Titkov, Catalan, Martinez and Sontag. So not a good opening lap so far for both Roke and Tomaselli.
Nope, definitely not. There's still plenty of time to rectify that, of course. And if you can get some good tow onto the last sector, you can make up big time.
Indeed. So 2 big names in the midfield currently in the drop zone. They'll be looking to improve if they can. Carr again showing why during the second half of the season he has been the king of qualifying, it must be said, and looking to see if he can make it. I think it would be 6 poles in 7 races if I'm not mistaken, which would be something in the OC, because it definitely seems that it's back half of the season Carr has definitely turned a corner in his qualifying, and you'd have to say maybe in Abu Dhabi maybe the races are finally coming together. We'll have to wait and see if that still is a thing in tomorrow in the race, if he keeps it up, because he needs to really if he wants to give Mercedes a record 5th Constructors title tomorrow.
Let's not jump the gun. It is only just Q1. Plenty of things can still change and probably will still change. And here we have George Rowe, because I think David Cupock is getting ready to go out again.
Have to see if any of the pit symbols on the left go off. If anybody starts moving on the mini-map on the top right there. Don't see any movement. There's a Manor coming in, but he's obviously the last garage, so he's not going out on the track. As it's obviously Rosetta Martinez, and he is the last garage, of course, so we get to see a good view to see if anybody will come out on the track this time by. Obviously, Chatfield was the first to come out the first time by. He obviously had Cupock behind him, so if you're right in what you're saying then, Rob, then maybe we could see Cupock going out first for the second runs, but we will see.
We'll see what happens. Titka is now in.
It is Toro coming out. It's Cupock, you were correct.
Lucky guess there, I guess, but anyway, David Cupock will be the first one to go out on this run. He's currently down in P14. Not the greatest of places, but he is in front of his teammate Catalan, and he'll be hoping he can find pace.
Well, I think in a way he could be a bit relieved because, of course, as we know now, he will be staying with the team next season when they rebrand to AlphaTauri. And we saw in the stream chat that he was you have to say very relieved to still be here, of course, because
Yeah,
he did think for a
absolutely.
moment he was not going to be in the top class. In fact, a lot of people did, to be honest. A lot of people thought he was going to be out of the drive, but he is still here for next season with AlphaTauri. Some people said he may have got the Ferrari drive, but nope, he will be still at
He
the Faenza
definitely
team
had a
next season.
chance for Ferrari, but in the end, Toro Rosso were the ones who decided to keep him, and I think he's done well enough to remain at the team, and he'll be hoping to carry that momentum into next season, as WQ Puck will start his second lap. Do you mind
Of
if I
course, let's
commentate
not
it?
forget. Go on then.
All
I'll save
right.
what I have to say a little bit later.
All right, here goes Q-Puck starting his lap in towards the first corner. He's going to go hard on the brakes, late as he dares, and clipping that apex nicely. Now early on the throttle into 2, carry all that speed and preserve it through the flat out turn 3 as you launch onto the Reto Posta. Going flat out, of course, full throttle. And David Q-Puck in the first sector, where is this time going to be? He is up by 1/10 as he breaks into the Lago. Now gets on throttle early, carrying all that speed in towards the run to Ferradura. Very fast right-hand corner, but you still have to brake for it and go as wide as you dare on exit. And Q-Puck does almost touch the curb there as he now goes into Laranja. Now then, in towards Pico de Pato, the corner which you like quite a lot to mention. You can almost lift through it. On the run up towards Cotovelo now and Pineirinho. Here goes Q-Puck on the throttle nice and early as he carries that speed flat out into Mergulho. He's going to break early into Junsao. He's up by 6/10. That's an impressive lap. He went on the curb a little bit there on entry. I don't think it's cost him too much time. And David Q-Puck, well, it's a very solid lap, I think. And let's just see where this is going to put him. I have a feeling he can get himself into the top 10 with this, maybe even top 8. Let's see. Here goes Q-Puck finishing his lap. It's P8.
Yeah, indeed. Usually the second laps are usually when where you see a lot of the improvements starting to come, especially for a lot of guys who didn't have a good first lap. Here's Bernie. He's not up on his personal best at the moment. He's
And
down in the second.
don't forget what you wanted to say earlier, Joe. Yeah.
It was something to do with David Q-Puck, but I think I may have lost my train of thought of what I was going to say about him.
Sorry about that.
It was something I was going to say about David Q-Puck. Oh yeah, I remember now. As some guys here have not been able to improve. As Lopez improves, but only up into 5th. Fosbury, I'll have to save what I'll say in just a little bit. Fosbury goes up to 14th. His teammate Chatfield doesn't improve, remains where he is at the moment, which is...
So he's up on his personal best by 0.003 of a second at the minute. He's not looking too good, but he will have another run.
Thomas Elliott is up on his personal best, but it's not by a lot.
Don't forget, he's only 2,000s behind Rogue, so if he improves by even the Niles margin, which he does...
He set the same time as Campana, but Campana, of course, staying ahead because he set the time first. Martinez does not improve. Carr doesn't improve either. McKenzie going side by side with one of the Alfa Romeos here, doesn't improve. That was Gomez. Gomez shouldn't get affected, though, because he's just started his lap. Cowland goes up to 14th. Young, meanwhile, goes to 3rd with that lap, as now we're looking at Campana.
She only improved by 10th.
And Campana doesn't improve. Here is Motrin. He's on improvement. Kind of needs to, really, because he is in the cusp. Across the line. Big improvement to go up into 6th. Roke, only 17th. So both Roke and Tomaselli appear to be struggling around this track at the moment. De Rosa doesn't improve. Remains in 10th position. Sontag on improvement. As across the line he goes. And goes only 21st with that lap. Blows doesn't improve. Remains in 8th position behind Byrne. And is anybody else on a lap or not? I'm not
Doesn't appear to be
sure. And in fact, that could explain why Willows didn't gain any time, because he was
up in the first sector, but he lost a lot in sector 2, of course, the traffic. I know he was still up in sector 2, but he had to slow down there when the Red Bull came to the pits.
Not sure which Red Bull that. I think it was Gal, actually, because he's the only one with a pit indicator. As Garba's just finished his lap there, which he didn't improve on. Here's his good friend Andre Videri. Speaking of Gamba, Videri coming across the line and does not improve. Remains where he is at the moment, which is P11.
Gomez doesn't appear to be on an improvement either.
His teammate not on improving either. But what I was going to say about Q-Puck, remember at the beginning of the season when everybody was calling him the next Florian Volker? There's some debris, actually. There's some debris. That's is it Jay McKenzie's debris? Because I can just see some debris flying around.
I think so.
We might need to have a look at a replay. Or was it from in front? I'm not 100% sure whose debris
we were looking at Gomez. I don't think it was from him. Let's see what happened again.
Not McKenzie. It's actually happened in front. I think it might be Carr's debris, and it is. He's made a collision with Martinez
here.
Have a look. So, as let's see. So they were both coming into the pits this lap, but Carr, clearly the slipstream, he went a bit too much. Whoa, wee!
He didn't even touch Martinez. There was a massive bump there, and it just chopped off his front wing.
Remember, that bump can be a bit of a thing at the pit entrance. Remember back in 2006, There was a bit of a bump at the pit entrance there. That seems to be a similar bump there that Carr has caught and has lost a bit of his front wing. Luckily, he didn't crash out really and cause a blockage. Although he did do a little tap there with the wall, but luckily nothing severe there. But luckily, he was coming into the pit, so no dramas there. But yeah, very weird.
Even if you were to wreck it, unlike in real life, they would have been able to fix that car and get him into the T car for Q2.
Indeed. Well, he's very lucky indeed that it's only just a change of front wing he needs. But he's currently at the top, so no harm done there. But as I was saying with Q-Pop before I saw that bit of debris, a lot of people back at the beginning of the season were calling him the next Florian Volker. And you'd have to say, whilst he has shown flashes of brilliance, he has been striked with a lot of bad luck, you'd have to say. A lot of it through no fault of his own. So he'll be hoping that he can have a better year in 2020, especially when he's going up against Chris Chatfield, who has been very impressive this season.
Yeah, that's true. People were calling him the next Florian Volker, but there's one key thing you need to remember. The Toro Rosso in 2019 is nowhere near as competitive as the Toro Rosso in 2008. So, of course, there is that to mention. But Q-Puck has still done an alright season. He didn't have to be retained, of course, and his highlight was definitely at P3 in Australia qualifying.
Yeah, indeed. As mentioned in the news video, I think people can still remember that very well, that on his debut he was able to get third on the grid, which was something I don't think a lot of us expected. Meanwhile, Maxim Titka is going to be the first.
Well, it was in mixed conditions, and you know how those are. They're a true lottery.
Yeah, but even so, you can't really take anything away from what Q-Pop did that day, which
Absolutely.
was sadly undone in the race, because whilst it didn't look like he was going to get a podium, it did look like he was going to be on for a high result, but unfortunately the collision with Mikael Oskar meant he only got a few points out of that race rather than what could have been. Maybe a fourth place, perhaps, in that race. Who knows? But
well, he'll be around here next season, and he'll be trying to get it in Australia.
Indeed, of course, we will be going to Australia next season. No pandemic in the OC. So
yeah, we don't have to obey the real world.
Yeah.
Which is why we will have the Russian flag and the Thai flag and whatever.
Oh yeah, because that recently came out about the Thai flag as well. Because Alex Albon can't use it in real life because of the same reason as why Nikita Mazepin can't use the Russian flag in F1.
I don't think the World Anti-Doping Agency will sue us if we put those flags in GP4, so it's all good.
Because luckily we're a virtual championship, not a worldwide real life championship, so we should be okay. Speaking of Russian drivers, we're looking at Maxim Titka, who's coming around the first corner. He's just started his lap. So we now know that this will be his final qualifying session as a Manor driver, and for now in the top class. Hopefully we'll see him back in the future.
Could be his last
where he'll end up next season is another question as he makes his way down towards turn 4, and he's up on his personal best by nearly a tenth. 0.099 to be exact, so not quite a tenth. Yeah, we can just round it up. But let's see what he does in the middle sector, because this is where you can gain or lose most of the time, because this is where the most technical part of the track is.
Because the first doesn't have a lot of downforce, but mechanical grip is key in the middle sector. Downforce not so much, maybe from Mergulio. Tilko is doing good at the minute.
I wonder if you'll me get another lap in, judging from the length of this track. We'll have to wait and see. We might get a couple of laps
doubtful. Here. Could be interesting though. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Anyway, here comes the second sector split. He's up by 2/10, but that will only mean 1 or 2 positions, I think.
The hell then goes Titkov, as there's still a few cars coming out of the pit lane at the moment. There may be some hold-ups, we'll have to see. But coming down the straight lane comes Titkov. Where is he? He's currently 20th. Let's see if he can gain any more places. Across the line comes the Russian. And he goes 15th. That's a very good time for Titkov.
He found another 10th in the last sector. Great effort. Now here comes Jared Frostbury, who's been knocked down to 17th as a result of Titkov's improvement, but he'll be hoping to change that, which he does not.
Oh, he remains in 17th, but still improves. He must have lost a bit. Here is Lopez getting a healthy bit of slipstream from one of the Ferraris in front. As now...
There appears to be Chang looking at the camera there.
And it is Chung. It's the blue helmet. So going down the pit straight, and Lopez goes to 4th. Got that healthy bit of slipstream.
Massive amount of tow there on the back straight.
Rosa would have got a bit of a boost on the beginning of his lap there. Martinez coming down the pit straight, currently in last. Doesn't look like he's improving. Across the line goes the Filipino, and no improvement there.
Zonta will be beginning a lap as Miklos Gunn is finishing his.
Across the line he goes, and he does not improve. Jay McKenzie now then. Across the line will go the Polish driver, and he doesn't improve. David Q-Part, meanwhile, doesn't improve either. Evan Byrne remains in 7th. Chris Chatfield, meanwhile, is currently 13th, stays 13th. Catalan on improvement. And he did not improve, lost time in the last sector. Tomaselli goes up to
crucial
knife.
one
That
for him.
pushes Catalan into the drop zone there. So Catalan lost time in the last set there. Roke is on improving. He needs to. He's in the drop zone right now.
Those he needed.
He pushed Titkov back down into the drop zone. Across the line then comes George Roke. Can he improve? And he does, but only up to 16th. He pushes Titkov down to 17th.
Just about on the
but he could still be in danger though. Here comes Lean Campana in the Williams. I think this will be his last chance, judging from where he is on the track and how much time there is. Campana across the line, he will go and doesn't improve, and I think he will be out of it. He remains in 20th.
He is out. Campana, of course, won here in his last race in GP2, but I'm afraid he won't be progressing to Q2 this time.
Trin and Chung don't improve that time by. DeRose is on improvement and goes up to 8th, gets in front of his future teammate Joseph Willows, who, speaking of which, is also on improvement.
And his current teammate, Fernando Tomaselli, as now here comes Willows.
Now across the line goes Willows, and he goes up to 4th. So
good effort.
Improvement
there
for
himself
him.
Just 1/10 behind teammate Chung. And here comes Felix Sontag. It's his last shot to get out of Q1. Can he do it? No, he can't, I'm afraid.
He can't indeed, and we'd actually Garber's on a lap in fact, but he doesn't look like he's improving as he makes his way through Young Cow and up the hill he'll go. And
at the moment, no, he appears to be down, and it's advantage Armarca at the minute.
Yeah, indeed, as Garber now then makes his way down the pit straight and across the line will go the Italian, and he does not improve. And looking at the times, obviously we know that Campana is out of it, of course, because he won't have enough time to get back out there, I don't think.
Titkov might, though. It'll be interesting to see.
Titkov might, because he was obviously first on track earlier, but we'll have to wait and see if we see a Manor coming on the right. There is some adjustments going on the right side. He is. So Titkov will have one more chance to try and get himself into Q2. So,
indeed. It's his last qualifying session either way. So he'll be hoping to go out on a high. And he's only got to find 2 extra tenths to knock Roke out and get himself to the Q2.
So Titkov out on the track. Let's see if anybody else in that drop zone will join him, like Frostbury, for example, because he did push Frostbury down earlier on, and he wasn't able to, because Frostbury was the car behind him earlier on.
By the way, at the minute, it appears my prediction is going to be correct. We got 2 Manors, 2 Williamses, 1 Haas and 1 Toro Rosso out. That can still change, of course.
Especially with Titkov out there, and just looking at the timer, Frostbury needs to be quick. And in fact,
Lopez went out, but not Frostbury.
Lopez went out, but Frostbury didn't. So 18th to 22nd, they are all out. Catalan, Frostbury, Campana, Sontag, and Martinez. Those 5 cars are out in Q1. Titkov, of course, has one more chance to try and see if he can push Roke out. So Roke has probably got to be praying that Titkov does not improve.
Can save himself. Here he goes.
Starts his
last qualifying lap. The top class. Here goes into 1. Looked a little bit sluggish, I think, but had a great line into 2. Pretty much assaulted that apex. Took the inside curve very well.
Let's see what his first sector is like compared to his personal best. And he's up on his personal best by 14 thousandths. But I think he still needs to find a little bit more time if he wants to get hold of Roke, which is not impossible, of course, because he did seem to gain a lot in the second sector last time by. So we'll have to wait and see if he can keep that one up.
If he can make it work, he'll ruin my prediction, but more importantly, he'll get himself through to Q2 for his last session, and I think that's what he wants most. Let's see if he can pull it off. He's got 3, 2, 1, 0. Checker flag is out. That's the end of Q1. We know 5 of the guys will be eliminated, but we don't know the 6th. Is it going to be Roke or Titkov? The second sector split,
he's down. Lost time in the second sector, so Roke may be able to count his lucky chickens. Not by much, I don't think. But
he needs to find about 3 tenths.
Right, so it was a lot then. So my eyes were deceiving me there. So Titkov now then heading down the straight and across the line, and he doesn't improve, remains in 17th. So Titkov is out. Roke can count himself lucky because he has just made it into Q2. So
Lopez is on the lap in the meantime, so we'll be looking at
Lopez did do a lap. Yes, he did. Here he is. So let's see what Lopez is doing. He is down on his personal best, so it doesn't look like he's going to improve. It looks like he's going to remain in 5th position as he will make his way.
His personal best wasn't that good to begin with. Look how far he is behind Kai in this Q1. And again, Q1 isn't important as long as you make it through.
Indeed, Carr's obviously had the measure of Lopez in the last few races when it came to qualifying, but there you have it. That is the end of Q1, and we'll go through the bottom 6 when we get to the menus. But there you go, Carr at the top with Garber in 2nd and Chung in 3rd position. And of course, we will just wait for the menu screen for it to go back onto the menu screen when it can be bothered. of course, I think we have to wait for a few people to cross the line before it starts
Yeah,
taking us back to the
sadly.
menu screen, because, of course, there was some AI that went out there when it happened. And one of them being that AI that's just crossing the line now then. And I think we'll go to the menu screen very soon, because that AI's just crossed the line and all the others around it are on cooldown laps. So, and there we go. It's going back to the menu screen.
Yep,
And there we go. So
Q1
top three
over.
again: Amar Kar, Franco Gamba, and Laura Chung. And your bottom six: Maxim Titka, Matteo Catalan, Jared Fosbury, Lean Campana, Felix Ontarg, and Rosetta Martinez. So what do you make of that first session overall, Rob?
Well, it was an interesting session. Sadly for these guys, my prediction was spot on. And Titkov did very well. He was just on the cusp of safety. He was pretty close. And even though he didn't make it, he'll still be happy with his effort, I'm sure.
Indeed. Well, we're just going to wait now for Q2 to get underway. He's obviously doing what he needs to do to get Q2 set up. So whilst we wait, guys, leave your prediction on who you think will get knocked out in Q2 whilst we are waiting, and whilst I get this tweet up on Twitter, of course, as just waiting for the right moment to get Carl on the screen, which is here. So there, I'll get spotted. So
Yep.
So we'll see, of course, Carr topped that session from Garber in second, and of course Chung at third position, and of course the Matteo Catalan, unfortunately for him, in his final qualifying session for a while at least, he didn't make it into Q2. He sadly will start in 18th tomorrow. Of course, one thing I also need to remember as well, Miklos Gal has a 5-place grid penalty.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Remember that as well. So Miklos Gal, of course, has a 5-place grid penalty, so he can't get pole position. So even if he does get pole, he'll drop 5 places back. So the maximum he can get in qualifying, of course, is 6th place. So we'll have to wait and see where Gal ends up, because he will have to take a 5-place grid penalty for a crash he caused with Kirishima De Rosa on the first lap at Abu Dhabi. So that's one to keep an eye on as well.
Yep, first lap penalties. I haven't seen those in a while, but I will be taking that penalty.
Tomaselli became the first recipient of that last season when we brought in the first few corners rule. So,
oh yeah, true.
And ironically, it was at the same circuit, which is a bit of a irony there.
Yeah. Now, Joe, before we get going with Q2, I want to ask you, since both you and I have taken pole position at this track, what do you think of it?
It's one of my favourites, obviously, Brazil. It's not my favourite. Obviously, Suzuka's my favourite, but it's up there with other tracks as well. It's obviously one of the best tracks in the world, period. And in my honest opinion, like with everyone else, it should always be the finale in Formula One.
Yep.
Period. Abu Dhabi. But anyway,
sadly, we've got sadly, all money speaks louder than passion, I'm afraid. So, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, anyway, I think you've got the screen back up now, guys. So we'll get into Q2, shall we? Again, leave your predictions on who you think will get knocked out in Q2. Why don't you leave your predictions whilst I do what I need to do, Rob?
Well, I wanted you to leave yours first, but all right, I'll go for mine. I'm thinking it is going to be 1 Racing Point, 1 McLaren, 1 Toro Rosso, 1 Haas, and also both Renaults. That's what I think. That's what I think will go out.
Okay, my prediction, I think QPOC will go out, Chatfield will go out, both Racing Points will go out, a McLaren will go out, and have I missed anyone? I'll say a Renault.
All right. I'm just feeling very confident that both Alfa Romeos will somehow make it to Q3, so if I jinx them, that is on me, but we'll see what they'll be able to do.
Well, predictions we have. Dennis has said Titkov. Well, no, that was Q1, sorry. He said QPOC, both Racing Points, both Renaults and Chatfield. Franco Gamba has said Chris and Alpha, both Racing Points, Dave and a McLaren. So, the chat's predictions. I've just
One says Tim McKenzie is out on track.
Yeah, indeed. And for some reason, I'm getting a load of... oh, yeah, because our top practice, he's just sent a load of GIFs out for that practice session.
Well, we don't call him the GIF man for nothing. And Joe, about this track, since it's got loads of interesting places, What do you say are your favorite corners to drive on in this circuit?
Probably the first few turns. It's a lot of fun, I'd have to say,
Yeah,
because
indeed.
obviously if you get the run out of turn 2, you've got a good chance of trying to get your opponent into turn 4. But I think pretty much all the track is
And you
just
can also
fantastic,
make some
really.
pretty audacious dive bombs into turn 1 if you can make them work. That's the position for you.
The track is usually good when it's wet as well, which usually comes
That's
alive
rare,
when that
but it's
happens.
very good for Brazil.
Oh, indeed. 2016 is a good example of that, even with the red flags that we had. And and also 2008, you can't forget that one either. It's produced so many
Yeah.
good wet races, and 2012 as well. Who can forget
Yeah,
2012?
2012 was brilliant. So here goes
Anyway,
Mackenzie onto his lap.
Mackenzie just coming out of turn 3, of course, his last session in the top class. Maybe for now, we'll have to wait and see what he does after
17.1.
this. At 17.1 in the first sector for Jay Mackenzie as he makes his way up the hill towards the technical section of the track now, then, which is sector 2. Through the right-hander he goes, through this double right-hander, getting as close to the curve as possible, not crossing onto it at all. Through the hairpin and now into the left-hander, which you can basically just lift off. Don't really need to use the
I
brakes
still
at all
think
through
he
into
kept
there.
like half throttle through it though. Definitely pushing.
To the hairpin we go, as now he'll make his way down the hill through the flat-out left-hander.
Apart from the
Now,
Mercedes of Kai, he seems to have the best sector 1 time. And yeah, 51.4 in the middle sector.
the hill goes Jay Mackenzie, who'll obviously set the benchmark of time for everyone to beat. In Q2, of course, heading his way down the pit straight, and what's the lap time going to be for the two-time world champion, Jay Mackenzie, across the line, and it's a 1 minute 8.132.
Lopez
Here
is
is
probably
Franco
going to beat
Lopez.
it. Here he goes, the champion. It has beaten it by 2.5 tenths, as well as goes to the top now. And Nicolas Gall goes 4th.
Jay Mackenzie, interesting enough. Byrne, meanwhile, across the line, and he goes into 5th place. Not the
That was
best
a
of
bad
times for
lap.
Byrne. There's Chatfield gets ahead of him there to go into 5th place, so the Haas goes into 5th. Did Byrne perhaps make a mistake? Let's have a look.
His middle sector time was looking pretty poor, but I don't think he's made a major mistake or anything like that.
We're just looking to check if he did, and no, he didn't. So it just seems like a poor first lap for Byrne. Chatfield, as mentioned, goes into 5th. Q-Park goes into 6th. As Federi now goes into 6th. Exactly a second behind Willows.
Yeah, exactly 1 second. And Federi P6, who knows that'll happen again, but now Kaz's going to 2nd.
As Chung was up on Willows there by 2 tenths in the second sector. 7,000
like
between
she can
Willows
get
and
that
Car.
P1.
Across the line then goes the Chinese driver, and she does go
Yes,
fastest
indeed.
by 2 tenths of a second. Here comes Roland Motrin in the racing point across the line, goes into
7th place
7th.
for
Gabriel
him,
Gomez, ahead of his home
Gomez.
fans, goes 5th.
Very good that lap.
He get himself into Q3 to make the Brazilian fans happy. We'll have to see. George Roque now then makes his way on the pit straight across the line. Will go the British driver, and he goes 13th that time. Not a good time. Tomaselli 4th.
Great effort
Very
from
good
Tomaselli. As now Franco Gamba goes 6th. He can't outpace the McLaren. Now the other McLaren, okay, Shuma De Rosa comes through, only 14th. That wasn't good. Over
Not a good
second
time
slower
for
than his teammate.
Oh, indeed. Not the best first lap for De Rosa, but at the moment, it's the 2 Ferraris at the top with Chung first and Willow second, and then Carr rounding out the top 3. The current drop zone consisting of Chatfield, Verderi, Kupok, De Rosa, Byrne, and Roque. So, not a good first lap again for George Roque, like in Q1.
Yep.
You did hear what I said there, didn't you, Rob?
I had to go away for just a little bit, but no, sorry.
I said that just like in Q1, Roque didn't have the best first lap there.
Yeah, true, but he has time to rectify it, so I'm sure he'll be pushing hard as we got a little bit of a traffic jam here.
It seems to be forming from Evan Byrne, who seems to be blocking the way for that Haas there of Jared. No, it's Chris Chatfield. Sorry, Jared Fosbury is not in this session. What am I thinking? It seems that for Chatfield at least, he's kind of broke a streak there because for the last few races, Jared Fosbury has been outpacing him in qualifying, but Chatfield has basically responded here in Brazil. So
yeah, definitely.
So Q-Pot now being pushed back into his gouge. Currently in 13th, needs to improve if he can. But a very good first lap, you have to say, from Paulino Tomaselli to be up in 4th position. I mean, throughout the season, he's been very impressive. But again, just showing why this year he's been the best of the rest.
Yep, indeed. And he'll be hoping to keep that going.
especially when he moves to Renault next season to be Evan Byrne's teammate. Of course, he's replacing Jay McKenzie as Paolino Tomaselli. So we're hoping to have
Yep,
a
indeed.
good season at Renault next season. We know how good on the straight that Renault is. So
Yep,
we'll be
indeed.
using-
I wouldn't even say it's because of the engine, but rather the low drag package. Renault have absolutely nailed it, and even though they don't have the best engine out there, they can still make up for it in the straights, of course.
Indeed, with how the car is set up. Speaking of a Renault, the man who Paolino is, of course, replacing at Renault is going out, Jay McKenzie. Once again, like last time, going out on the track. Now, usually, it wasn't so much in Q1, but maybe it could be different for Q2. Usually, the second laps, we see lap times getting better. And for Roke, at least, and even for Evan Byrne, they need to try and find some improvement they can. Even
there is
Nicolas Gal's
something
only down
interesting
in...
to point out. Yeah, no, something interesting to point out, the lap times are slower than in Q1. You can remember Amarka's quickest ever in Q1. There's the 106 to 106.9, I think. Now Chang, she's a full 6/10 slower than that effort, so there's definitely some time to find on the table for everybody.
Yeah, 6 times off of Car's Q1 time, it must be said. So, as you mentioned there, loads of time still yet to be found around this track as the track continues to rubber in. Just saw Toro Rosso on the opposite side there.
It's always a nice camera angle, I gotta mention. Here comes McKenzie.
Rob sent me another meme there. But anyway, as Jay McKenzie makes his way down the pit straight to start his second flying lap as he'll make his way towards the first few turns. As now into the first corner and now into turn 2 he goes. Just under 8 minutes to go in this session. Luckily for him, he shouldn't get any traffic. I know there's somebody coming out of the pits there, but luckily he should be clear of that.
And then he also gets out at a racing point. In the first sector, he's down by a tenth and a half.
Indeed, not up on his personal best at this point in time. McKenzie currently in the top 10 at the moment, but I wouldn't say he's so far safe because, of course, let's not forget you've got De Rosa. You got some strong contenders at the moment in that drop zone. It could push McKenzie out of it. So
is in P9. He may not be in the drop zone, but he's definitely going to improve on his lap, I'm thinking.
Have to see, of course. Remember, of course, Gal does have that 5-place grid penalty, so wherever he qualifies, he'll drop 5 places back for tomorrow's race. Here comes Jay McKenzie.
Yeah, that is true, but that penalty only applies after the end of the session. So if he knocks someone out, that person, I'm afraid he won't be making it to Q3.
The hill goes McKenzie. He was 7 tenths down on his personal best in the second sector, so this doesn't look like it's going to be an improvement for the 2-time champion, unless he pulls some kind of miracle off in the last sector. But
probably
McKenzie...
not going to happen. Here he comes.
And no, he doesn't improve. Motrin just starting lap might get a healthy bit of slipstream from McKenzie as well. Lopez is up. Lopez is up on his personal best, and he goes 4th. He gets in front of Tomaselli. And meanwhile, he's on improvement. Can he get into the top 10? And no, he's only 14th. Gets in front of De Rosa.
Let's see if he can go quickest of all. This looks competitive. Gets closer to Chunk, but not enough to surpass her. As here comes David Kupok. 13th at the minute, can get out of that place. No.
He only just improves on his lap time. Videri not on an improvement, remains in 12th position. Gomez doesn't improve, remains where he is. Chung goes even quicker now with a 1 minute 7.314. It looked like she got a little bit of slipstream as well from that. So a little bit of slipstream from George Rote there as Miklos Gal. And he remains in 9th, so that's a bit worrying there. Chatfield improves but remains in 11th position. Carr, meanwhile, coming down the pit straight for the Mercedes driver. And across the line, no improvement for him either. Here comes Franco Gamba. He's on the improvement. Across the line, he will go. Goes into, stays in 6th. On the same time as Tomaselli, yeah. Identical times as De Rosa improves, but not quite into the top 10. He's still only 11th with that lap. Motrin across the line remains in 10th. Still in the cusp of Q3 at the moment is Roland Motrin. But
the Hungarian is right on the edge at the minute.
Indeed. As speaking of two people with 2 nationalities, of course, Tomaselli and Gamba on the same time. How ironic. Tomaselli, of course, staying ahead because he set the time first. Rote, meanwhile.
Speaking of 2 people who are not of the same nationality, it's also very close between the 2 teammates of Franco Lopez. They're only separated by 2,000 a second.
Did see this earlier, Yuri, just so you know, because that's how Chung got the time. But yeah, Rote got overtaken by Chung, which is why he's not going to be able to get an improvement. He'll only have, I think, 1 more chance, perhaps, to try and get himself through. He'll have plenty of time to do so, given how short this track is, but he really needs to get his foot down.
5 minutes left in it. I think he'll have time to get in the pits and go back out again. That's no dispute. Roke has finished his lap, of course, without improving, but he will have another shot, I'm certain.
As Kupok now goes back into the box now, then currently 14th, he'll probably have 1 more chance, like with a lot of people, to do 1 more lap to try and get himself into Q3.
Don't forget, this is also going to be Toro's last qualifying session before they rebrand. So if Q4 can't make it through, that'll be the end of Torosso in qualifying.
Indeed, as the Alfa Romeo mechanics are wheeling their cars back in. So far, Gomez the only Alfa Romeo so far who could be going through into Q3, using the support of the home fans to his advantage as well. The home crowd advantage that Gabriel has here in Brazil. And of course, as mentioned a little bit earlier, continue.
Unfortunately, he had some heartbreak here as well when he lost the title to Devin Turner in GP2 in 2015. But now he's put all that behind him. He'll be hoping he can get Q3 in front of his adoring fans. The Brazilian crowd, I have to say, is very, very powerful. It's had 4 guys fighting for the GP2 title and 3 champions as well, including the most recent Dudu Kurbe.
Yep, indeed. And obviously, speaking of Kirby, of course, he will be on the grid next season, so they'll have 2 Brazilian drivers to support when we come back here next season. Of course, next season, because obviously, remember back in 2009, we obviously had that vote to say that Brazil would always be the last race. Well, of course, next season, that will be the last time that Brazil will have the rights to always be the last race. Doesn't necessarily mean it will never be the last race. It just means that that other tracks will also have the opportunity to host the finale. So,
I think
not
it's
just
best we don't make it that rigid, so we could make any. Yeah, I don't think we should be rigid. I don't think we should say it has to be on this track, but I'm happy to have it at Brazil.
Yeah, indeed. It just gives other tracks opportunity, basically, if they want to. Brazil will always be an option, of course, for a finale, so don't worry about that. In case anybody still is a bit confused about that. So anyway, we're looking at Franco Lopez. You could say this is sort of his home race because, of course, Brazil and Argentina are both in South America, of course. And
yeah,
of course,
but Brazil and Argentina hate each other, so, you know.
Well, it's unfortunately the closest he's got to our own race because, unfortunately, we don't have an Argentine Grand Prix. Maybe we will in the future, but we'll have to wait and see. As Franco Lopez, speaking of which, now then starts his lap as he'll make his way towards first few turns, through turn 1 and 2, he will go, and then flicking it through turn 3. And we'll see what his first sector is like in just a little bit as the Argentine makes his way down this little back straight before heading towards the end of sector 1. He's up, but he's still down on the chung at this point in time. So let's see if he can gain a little bit in this middle sector. We do believe that Mercedes may have a bit of an advantage on downforce compared to the Ferrari, especially in the aerodynamic part. So this could be where Lopez could
gain a little bit. A massive advantage in sector 3.
And of course 1 as well, because there's so many streets. So
yeah, indeed.
But
the 1 does have some fast corners to compensate for that. Sector 3, not really. It's just 1 corner, which is medium speed, really.
Down the hill then goes Franco Lopez. Let's see if he's still up on his personal best in the middle sector, and he still is, but still not by a lot.
Just under half a tenth.
I think he could get above. He could get above Carr into third, but I think that's the only place he could probably gain because there's only 2,000 so far.
Look at this. Mochin and Roque haven't come out of the pits yet.
They're waiting at the moment. Well, they need to be quick because there's not that much time left as Lopez goes into third.
By 900ths of a second as now Jay McKenzie is finishing his lap. Can he stay P8 or can he improve the pole? He doesn't improve, I'm afraid.
Willows is currently not up. I think I can see movement on the mini map, so I think both of the racing
points is out on track.
Mochin is out on track, and I think Roque is about to come out on track as well. I'm just going to have a look. Is his pit indicator going to come off?
I think so.
Yes, he's also out, so he made it just in time. So both racing points will get 1 more lap. Gomez goes up.
7th. Good improvement.
Yep.
Good improvement.
Improvement there for Gomez in front of the home crowd. Has he done enough to get through into Q3?
I should say he stays 7th, but it's looking good for him for now. Anyway, here comes
Chatfield, meanwhile. Chance for him, and he's out. He's out. Chatfield is out. He remains in 12th. Here comes Amar Carr. Across the line he goes and doesn't improve, remains in 4th position. Evan Byrne, it looks like he's not going to be through either across the line. And note, Byrne is out, remains in 15th. Kaderi
was able to
he's out, remains in 12th
my prediction
position.
is wrong. One Alfa Romeo has been knocked out. Here comes Franco Gamba. He can't improve on his time, so he has the same.
Again on an improvement.
Yeah, but she's not going to get massive though this time around. So let's see if she can improve this lap.
She still can.
Only by a narrow margin. Here comes
Kipot, meanwhile, can he get the Toro Rosso through? And no, remains in 14th. De Rosa, can he get through? And no, he can't. Remains in 11th. He's out. Tomaselli remains in 5th. Roque just enough to start a lap there. Willow's going back into the pits, of course.
Motrin
And
has started
we've
his
got
lap as well, let's
Racing
not
Points
forget.
out there doing a lap as well. We'll look at Motrin, who's down in the middle sector. So it is basically a fight between the two Racing Points to see who's going to get into Q3.
Yeah, very well said. Rock's gonna try to knock off his teammate of that P10 spot. Motrin is trying his that hardest to stay in there, but at the moment he doesn't appear to be improving, and if that stays as is, he'll have to hope Rogue can't get the better of him as the checkered flag is out.
Well, and Motrin, his middle sector's still not great, so he'll have to pray that his own teammate doesn't knock him out as Motrin makes his way up the hill.
That's his only hope, really.
The left-hander, and let's see what Motrin could do. Remember, Roke got held up on the previous lap, so we don't know whether he would have gained any time. Had
Here
that
comes
overtake
Motrin,
from
he
Chung
doesn't
not happened.
improve.
And let's see what Roke is doing. He's up on his personal best. Let's see what his middle sector is like. And he's
His middle
full temp
sector is
top.
brilliant, but he needs a
Still
little
not
bit
gonna be
more.
enough,
He was
I think.
7 tenths down on Motrin,
Need
but
more.
he'll get some
Maybe he
slipstream
could
now,
from
so
this-
here it comes.
See if this bit of slipstream from the McLaren is going to help. Obviously, he won't be able to use all of it because it's coming into the pits. But Roke now
Here comes
across the
Roke.
line. Can he get
Can he knock
himself
out his
into
teammate?
Q3? And
No,
no,
he can't.
he only goes up to 13. So Roke is out. So Motrin has just made it in time. So there you go. That is Q2 done with Chung at the top of the timing sheet. And now bottom six is confirmed. So here is the
It was an
results for
impressive
Chung.
lap for Roke, but I'm afraid that he still needed an extra 2 tenths to knock out Motrin, and he couldn't fight them.
Rosa, Videri, Roke, Chatfield, Kupok, and Byrne have been eliminated. And of course, it was Chung from Willows and then Lopez. That were your top three. So, what did you make of that session overall, Rob?
I think it was definitely a little bit surprising. Chung was very, very strong, and Gal, by the skin of his teeth, made that he was only 9th, so that was definitely a surprise. Motrin, in the end, he did well to remain in the shootout, and yeah. Ross also being out, that's a surprise too. And Evan Byrne was off the pace, I'm afraid. So it was an interesting session for sure. And I wonder what Q3 will bring us.
The Brazilian fans will, of course, be happy to know that Gabriel Gomez did make it into Q3. So at least the home favourite will.
Not just that, he's also beaten his teammate. So that's wonderful for him.
Indeed. So celebrating with the fact, of course, that he will still be with Alfa Romeo next season. So just going to sort this out, guys, for Twitter. And whilst you're doing that, let us know your prediction on who you think is going to get pole position. And if any of you predict Gal, then you'll have to predict who is going to be second on the grid after that. Because, of course, let's not forget, Gal has the 5-place grid penalty. So wherever he qualifies, he'll drop 5 places back.
Well, my prediction, I'm actually going to go give it to Franco Lopez. I think he'll take pole.
I'm going to go with... to be biased, I'm going to go with myself.
Okay. I just think we had Ka top Q1, we had Chung top Q2. I think someone else will top Q3.
We'll see, of course. We'll not have that long to go. Obviously, Yui is doing what he needs to do to get Q3 underway, and then we will get underway with the final session. I'll read your predictions out in just a little bit, guys, once I get the Twitter sorted.
Yeah, indeed.
Let's just type in away. Second, and then of course it was Franco Lopez in third. Only one McLaren representing Q3, of course. De Rosa only just not able to make it in time, and only one racing point as well. Roke didn't make it either. So once again, Motrin out qualifying Roke there for. It has been quite close between the pair of them, I must say, but I think Motrin has had the edge over him in qualifying, unless Franco can correct me on that one, because he has been keeping up with the qualifying battles for the entirety of the season. So
it appears Dennis has the same prediction as me, though he's calling him Frank Lopez, of course.
Oh yeah, because of my accidental typo.
Hey, it's not the worst typo out there. Hashtag Franco Galva.
Oh yeah, Galba. Yeah, Galva, who can forget?
And don't forget the legendary Gomez.
Of course. That was also a typo from me as well when writing down the Indy 500 results. So
yeah,
as that as
well, I'm looking forward to the next 500. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, should be interesting. Hopefully, it will be as exciting, as dramatic. Hopefully, it can be just as dramatic as what it was last season and the final 10 laps, which you can find on YouTube, by the way. I might do that for any time the final 10 laps gets interesting. So might do that in the future if If the last 10 laps are interesting for the Indy 500, that is. But anyway, we're getting underway soon for Q3. And there is the weather. So I think without further ado, let's get to the final part of qualifying. So let's read your predictions, guys. Let's have a look. So Franco's saying Amar Carr will get pole. Dennis will say Franco Lopez will get pole. Ra says a car pole. Nguyen says a car pole. And that's it. I've said myself. You've said
Dennis
Franco
said
Lopez.
Brajo. Yep.
So let's see who's going to get the pole then in this final part of qualifying for 2019. As we look at the home favorite,
Martin takes pole,
or even Gabriel Gomez to send the home fans happy. As we wait for the first bit of activity to happen in the pit lane in this 15-minute Q3 session. Of course, one thing I want to mention as well, that practice session we just had earlier today, that was the last time that it will be 25 minutes because, of course, from next season, it will be half an hour, the practice session. You may remember that announcement that came, I like to say like about a month and a half ago or something like that. It was quite a while ago, that announcement. But from next season, of course, the practice sessions will be half an hour. And then, of course, when we get into the fantasy era, they will be 40 minutes long. So, yeah, be aware of that. So, anyway, Roland Motrin is the first to come out on the track in Q3. And he'll be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat. So,
yeah, but unfortunately for him, I think that benchmark will get him pretty easily, considering he is in a Racing Point after all.
Maybe next season, hey, because of course Roland and George are still with Racing Point next season, and of course the copycat
I think
Mercedes.
They're gonna get a better car than this year, definitely next year.
They're buying a chassis from Mercedes for some reason. It looks a bit identical. I don't know, but anyway,
just a little bit.
Maybe this year's maybe the chassis they're currently using now. I don't know. But anyway, Motrin.
No. I heard a better theory.
Just a quick paint job, Joe. Don't worry about it.
I saw a false note for the Racing Point employees buying a huge copy machine.
Really?
A massive photocopier then, coming the way that clearly prints 3D images. So anyway,
here goes Motrin.
Anyway, back to the action rather than joking about the pink Mercedes. Roland Motrin heading his way down the first corner now then. Tucking it in as he now turn 2 and then into turn 3 will now go. And as make our way down the end of the first sector, 17.3. Not as strong as what Jay McKenzie's was in the previous session. So
has already been it. Look, he's got 17.2.
And but Tomaselli down on him though in the first sector compared to Roland. So Roland having a better first sector just than Paulino, but we'll have to wait and see if he can keep that up.
It's also down to the difference in power unit. That Mercedes has more ground than Renault in the back of the McLaren, of course.
Indeed. So that could
Looks
give
like
them
Jay
an advantage
McKenzie
down.
was very quick in sector 1 this time, 17.1, just like in Q2.
A similar time to what it was in the first session, but Carr up on him with a 17.0. Up the hill now, then we go, as we've just passed the second sector. And let's see what the time is going to be then for the Hungarian Roland Motrin. Heading his way down.
Gone quicker in the middle sector, and Gallo's held up a lot. Here comes Motrin finishing his lap.
And he does a 1 minute 9.2. Not a good time there, but Gal 6 tenths off him there. As
sector 2 is shocking.
He finds time there to go faster by 5 tenths of a second. Here comes Jay McKenzie in the Renault. He did look very quick, so let's see what he can do.
Let's see where McKenzie can go.
7 tenths quicker. 1 minute 7.9, a good time there. Gabriel Gomez across the line, goes fourth. Franco Garber, can he beat Jay McKenzie? And no, he can't. P2.
6 tenths down.
Franco Lopez, he can't beat him either.
Wow,
here comes Amar Carr, who is up on McKenzie, let's not forget. Amar Carr, the qualifying master, may have done it again because he's 4 tenths quicker than McKenzie. Here is Chung.
Is only a tenth down in the middle sector, but don't forget Ferrari has that edge in sector 3, and Chung can benefit here. Let's see if she can take provisional pole.
Across the line she goes, and no, she can't. Goes P2. Willows goes P3, slots behind Chung, pushing McKenzie down to 4th. So at the moment, it is Carr currently fastest by a 10th ahead of Chung, then Willows in 3rd. But so far, a very good first lap for Jay McKenzie. Clearly wanting to lead the top class on a high.
Absolutely right, Joe. And I have to wonder what exactly happened to Gal in his lap, because you shouldn't be this far down, let's be honest.
Oh, indeed. So far then, if it stays like this, because let's not forget, Gal does have that 5th place with advantage. It might be because he got held up by the Racing Point, or did he make a mistake? Let's have a look. He made a mistake actually. Was into this corner here, look. You can see. There
Yeah,
you go, look. So
Alonso.
that's why Gal is down in 10th position. He made a huge mistake, and I think he would have been held up by the Racing Point as
Got two
well.
of his wheels off the track there as well, and yeah, Gal. I told you his middle sector was looking very bad, and then unfortunately it was. But there's still time for things to change, of course. He's got a few more laps in.
At the moment, if he stays as it is, he will start in 15th because of his 5th-place grid penalty. So he needs to improve. He wants to get a little bit higher up on the grid. As Motrin, his fellow compatriot, coming into the pits. Just over 10.5 minutes to go.
At the moment, of course, Kyoshima Rosa is projected to start in P10, unless Gal can get himself in the top 4, of course. 5.
Indeed. So meanwhile, Mackenzie, of course, getting his first good lap in with 4th position, getting in front of the man who you could say in a way booted him out of Mercedes, Franco Lopez, the man, of course, who was crowned world champion last week at Abu Dhabi. As Roland now then being wheeled back into the pits. There's Gabriel Gomez currently in 9th position and looking to see if he can get a little bit more higher for the Brazilian fans to celebrate. And
Joe, what do you think of these first runs so far, obviously apart from Mackenzie? Because it looks to me like Ferrari are up there. They're very close to the back of Ka. Lopez is a little bit disappointing, I'm afraid.
Indeed. Well, obviously this is not the fastest that we've seen. Of course, we saw in Q1 that Car was able to break into the 1 minute 6s. So whether we're able to see that in Q3 is going to be a question mark. What was I going to say? Obviously, of course, this is big for Renault if it stays as it is at the moment, because this will help him out in their battle for 5th with Alfa Romeo, Racing Point, and of course Toro Rosso. It would actually put them ahead of Alfa Romeo if it were to stay as it is in the race tomorrow. But
no points for qualifying, of course.
Of course not. The only bonus point that you get in the top class, of course, is a fastest lap bonus point, but that's only if you finish in the top 10, of course. So
and you can only get that one in the race. So yeah.
Indeed, no points for qualifying. As Gomez, in fact, is actually going out on the track. So
but if Stefano Domenicali has his way, we could be seeing points in qualifying, sadly.
Well, it wouldn't be a bad thing if there was a bonus point for pole, but if it got a little bit too ridiculous, then there would be problems. But
Indeed.
As Roland Motrin now then comes out onto the track.
First one once again.
Yep, he's coming out on track first, and it looks like he'll be joined by Gomez, who's coming out second, because we saw the Alfa Romeo mechanics getting ready with him. And so now we're looking at
No, it's Gomez. It's Gomez. My bad.
It is Gomez. Well, similar prefixes, one with an A and one with an O. Into the Gal out on track. Obviously, he needs to improve, but he's got to hope there's no traffic this time, or even hope to not make a mistake either. As Motrin now then going through the hairpin.
Marcelli's out on track in the meantime.
And the hill goes Motrin. Coming out of the second sector, he will go. He'll make his way up the hill to do his second lap. I think they should all be able to get one more flying lap in before the end. So we're going to get a maximum of 3 flying laps in Q3. So
as expected, here comes Roland Motrin.
Who currently has the record for that?
Maybe it could be James. I don't know.
Okay. Can you tell us who holds the previous record, Franco, so that we know? As Motrin,
because
looks like
Motrin
he's held by the Mercedes here. That is Franco Lopez he was trying to pass there, and this looks like it's going to compromise rather than
That's Lopez, not Ka, my bad. But Motrin's lap is definitely ruined.
Yep, indeed. As he'll make his way up the hill, goes Roland.
Well, Willows is still in the pits, but he should be going out now.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting at the moment, is Willows. There is Mumvin on the mini-map, so I think he is just coming out onto the track. He'll be hoping there'll be no traffic around him, as he will look to try and see if he can get pole position here in Brazil.
Speaking of traffic, Motrin's got a little bit of that in the name of Franco Lopez. As a result, he's actually still up somehow.
Still up, surprisingly. So, if it weren't for that little hold-up, how much time do you think he could have gained out of it? Because he did lose quite a bit when he tried to overtake
Franco. Maybe an extra 4 tenths, or I'm not even sure. But either way, here comes the slipstream.
Let's see how much you can gain from the slipstream of Lopez across the line, and he improves but remains in 8th position. Here's Gomez, who's also on improving. Let's see how much of that Ferrari power he can use. Across the line, remains in 9th. But here comes Gal. He should be able to improve across the line. Here we go, and he goes 3rd. So at the moment, he will be 8th on the grid. Here is Paolino Tomaselli, who is not up on his personal best. At the moment, still down in 8th position. Looks like he's going to remain there for the moment.
Yep,
the Italian makes his way down the straight. And Thomas Elliott crosses the line, and he does not improve. As Gamba's up
Gamba
on
purple in
car.
the middle sector.
Here comes Franco Gamba. He's obviously taken 1 pole this season. Can he try and get 2 by the end of the season?
Don't
Gamba
forget
now
that Honda a little bit down in the last sector, but let's see if he can take it. He can by 5,000.
5,000. He is. Well, I would say the Honda and the Mercedes is equal on the straight, but he's been able to get the car by 5,000 there. He goes to the top. Chung across the line, no improvement. Jay McKenzie, across the line he goes, he remains in 6th. Amar Khan, he's not on improvement. Across the line he will go, and no improvement for him. Franco Lopez is not on improvement either, and don't think he's going to gain anything in that last sector.
Actually, he was very narrowly down. Let's see if he can still find something here. He can.
He's
But only
7th,
P7.
though. He's not doing well so far. Here is Joseph Willows. He's down his personal best in the first sector by... he's made a mistake.
Gone off.
He's made a mistake there.
Lost
He's
the rear there, and that's his lap compromised.
that lap is chucked in the bin. He'll have to do another lap if he wants to try and get pole position here. Out of Brazil, let's have a look. You can just see it there. Look, he wiggled at the beginning of that corner, and that just
Reminds
compromised
me
the
of
exit.
the mistake Joel Larson had in the race in GP2 last week.
Indeed, as Willows makes his way through that left-hander now then, before heading towards hairpin.
Indeed.
And
This lap
I'm
is
just
a
going to
total
check
off.
who actually has the record, if Carr can do it. I don't think Franco is... It was Yuri back... It was actually you, Yuri, back in 2012, apparently. So, that's that, really. So, Carr was able to equal you. So, unless Carr can find some time, it looks like that's going to remain like that. Unless Carr can find some time to possibly do what he did in Q1 and get into the 1-minute 6s. So, we'll have to see.
Doesn't need to find too much time. The gap is very small.
Very small indeed. So, we're in for a very close final flying lap. I think they should be all able to get one more flying lap, but we'll have to wait and see.
And don't forget about Lopez. He's definitely still got some pace he can find. His first 2 laps have been a little bit off. Yeah,
maybe he is hiding something, but he's got to find 5 temps if he wants to get up there for the race tomorrow. And Willows, well, he made a mistake on that lap. He'll be looking not to make a mistake on his 3rd and final flying lap as soon as he gets back into the pit.
I think he'll be the last one to cross the line when we get to it.
Indeed. So as we wait for some activity to
Willows
go for the
will
final
have time, that's certain.
The final qualifying laps of 2019. We're just waiting, as we just see in the minimap. Willows is just approaching Young Cow now, so he's very close to the pits.
The last spot of the season is still up for grabs. Who's it going to go to? Stick with us for just under 4 minutes, and you'll find out.
Yep, indeed. As we were just with Gomez still in the Alfa Romeo garage, still no movement at this point in time, and now we've got some in the form of Miklos Gau, who's currently in 4th, but it will be 9th if it would stay like this at the moment. So.
Indeed.
Out of the pit lane goes Gal, as he'll now make his way through the left-hander.
Won't start on pole no matter what, but he'll still be trying to be fast at this session.
Out of the pit lane he goes. Now, one thing to mention, of course, obviously this grid penalty may not help Gal that much as well, because let's not forget, whilst the Drivers' Championship is not up for grabs, the battle for 2nd is still on, though, between Willows and himself, so he'll be hoping to hopefully minimise the grid penalty as much as he can if he wants any chance of finishing in the runners-up spot.
He wants to do well in the race tomorrow too, that's a given.
Indeed. I think...
What's the difference like?
8 points between them. Quite close. 8 points.
In Willows' favour, right?
In Willows' favour, yes, because of course Gal crashed out and Willows finished in 6th last time out in Abu Dhabi.
Alright. Anyway, here comes Gal. He's about to start his last flying lap. We don't have a lot of cars out on track at the minute. It's actually just half of them.
At the moment, but I would imagine that the others will come out very soon, and Gal will be hoping neither of them hold them up. So
there's no moment at the moment. Gal begins his last lap worry-free.
Into turn 1 then goes Miklos Gal. To turn 2, and around turn 3 he goes for his final flying lap of 2019.
Very aggressive on that inside curb earlier.
As there is some movement now in the pit lane, I believe, looking at the mini-map. So he's up on his personal best,
200.
and 200 off of Gamba, but 200 up also on his personal best. So a bit of irony there, 0.021 off of Gamba, but 0.021 up on his personal best there. Bit of irony there with Gal there.
Looks like a competitive lap.
Indeed, as he's trying to minimise as much damage as he can before the grid penalty comes into an effect. Now into the hairpin goes the Hungarian, the 2009 world champion.
Lopez is still in the pits meanwhile. Lopez has gone out, but Lopez is waiting around a little bit. Here comes Gal in the middle sector.
There is movement.
But then it's purple.
Lopez is out on track now, so all of them are out on track as Gal is up on Gamba in the second sector. So, could he get an unfortunate pole position before he gets the grid penalty? Let's see. Heading
He can
down.
definitely do it. Let's see if he can. If he's done enough. Can Gal go quickest?
Well, he's going to cross the line, and he does by 10th. Gal goes top.
Great lap
which will be sick for the. Which will be sick if it stays like this. Chung starts her lap now, as will Mackenzie and Carr. Gomez is down by a lot, in fact. I don't know if he's made a mistake, but anyway, he's not going to be improving. It looks like he's going to stay in 10th position in front of his own fans. Let's see if there was a mistake from Gomez during this session, and doesn't look like there was, unless there was at the first few turns. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so it was the middle sector that was off, so yeah.
Okay, so Gomez does not improve. Willow starts his lap, as now we look at Tomaselli.
He could be up.
And let's see, can he move up? Only into 8th.
There was a big gap to Lopez in front, so all he could do was improve on his time now.
Well, speaking of Lopez, he looks like he's going to get a bit of slipstream from Motrin at the beginning of this lap.
He's
as
going to
Motrin finishes
his.
He remains in 9th position. Gamba not up on his teammate and not up on his personal best either. So here comes Gamba. Across the line he will go, and he's going to remain in 2nd place. Gamba still at the top. Chung up on her personal best, and she's up on Gal. She's up on Gal.
This is big.
She's up on Gal by nearly a 10th. Here comes Chung now then, heading into the hairpin.
Can she take it away?
Let's have a look. Let's see what his middle sector is like compared to Gal. Can she keep it up? Through the flat-out Magulo corner now then, and she's down on Gal in the second sector, but she can still bring it back because, of course, we know how powerful that Ferrari engine is on the straight. So let's see what Chung can do then in this last sector.
Either way, it's looking good for her to start first on the grid tomorrow, but can she take ball outright? Here comes Chung.
Cross the line, then goes lower Chung. And can she grab it? No, by 5,000.
The same margin we had between Gaba and Ka.
Kenzie, meanwhile, doesn't improve. Here comes Carr. He's not on an improvement either, so it doesn't look like it's going to be pole for Carr. And no, he remains in 4th. Joseph Willows. Joseph Willows crosses the line. No improvement. He remains in 5th position. Here comes Lopez, who's down on his personal best in the middle sector. Through the left-hander he goes now. Then goes Franco Lopez as he'll make his way.
The last lap of the season goes to the champion. Can he improve on it? No, he can't.
No, he can't. So, Miklos Gal is the fastest in qualifying, but it's going to be Laura Chung who's going to be on pole position for tomorrow's race because, of course, Gal has the 5-place grid penalty. And I think we might as well look at both laps because I did that when I was top class host, showed both laps. We might as well see both Gal and Chung's lap.
Do that? All right.
Oh, well, I did that when... there was grid penalties in 2016, so kind of makes sense if we did that. So we're going to stay silent for both Gal and Chung's laps.
Yep, we will. So enjoy the laps.
And that is how Laura Chung got pole position for tomorrow's race, and that's how Miklos Gau got the fastest lap earlier on. Obviously, Chung didn't get the pole outright, but it was still a brilliant lap from Laura Chung, and also a brilliant lap from Miklos Gau. Both of them putting on a show today. There have been a few times where these two have been battling each other during the course of the season, and it seemed like it happened again here in qualifying.
Yeah, only 5 thousandths apart. That was definitely very close. And I wonder, it's gonna be credited to Chung, right, in the Wikipedia.
Yes, it will be. It will be classified like when Michael Schumacher got the grid penalty back in 2012. It didn't count to his record.
Fair enough.
So, Miklos Gau was the fastest. He's not going to be on pole. It's going to be Laura Chung who's going to be on pole position for tomorrow, with Franco Gamba in second, Amar Kar in third, Joseph Willows in fourth, with Jay McKenzie will be starting in fifth. Then it will be Miklos Gau who will start in sixth, followed by Franco Lopez, a disappointing seventh for him, with Paolino Tomaselli in eighth, Roland Motrin in ninth, and Gabriel Gomez completing the top 10. And I can tell you from looking at that grid, if the result were to stay like that tomorrow, then Mercedes would win their fifth Constructors' title. But whether they will or not remains to be seen. So what did you make of that session overall, Rob?
It was cool. It was definitely cool. Obviously, Mercedes, their advantage is 28 points. So if they get one car on the podium, I think they've won it. And Car will be on the podium as things stand since he's starting third. But yeah, very, very close at the top there. You never knew who was going to take pole. It was Car shining early on. Then Gamba took it away from him. Then came Gal, and Chung almost got it from Gal. But in the end, it didn't change much because the penalty means she'll start first, not Miklos.
Yep, indeed. Well, we'll have to wait and see if she can convert the pole into the win, or whether somebody else will stop her. Well, that has been it then from the final qualifying session of the season. Of course, we don't commentate the race tomorrow. We allow George to do that for the highlights. But that has been it for the commentary for 2019. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll be doing this again, of course, next season. Don't you worry about that. But until then, I've been JW97. He's been Robert Ionescu. And whilst we won't be there, we will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 71-lap Brazilian Grand Prix, the final race of 2019, where the Constructors' title will be on the line. Till then, take care.
Take care and enjoy the explosion in the Team News video. See you later, guys. Bye.